Hello and welcome back to live coverage of the Apex Gaming $5,000 Modern Invitational Qualifier here in sunny Caldwell, Ohio. I'm Todd Tandy Anderson, joined by Ross Merriam. Say hi, Ross.
Hi, Ross.
We got one match left, but we also have a sweet graphic that I want to pull up. So let's go ahead and get the bracket so we can talk about what we watched in the top 8 so far.
Yeah, gotta understand how we got here to understand where we're going.
Yeah. All right. So one match we did not get to watch. Riley Baker on Gruel Brood Scale took down Brendan Lane on Esfrigorios. TJ Radizak Kethis combo, which we've been seeing him play today all day, crushing everybody with, defeated good friend Jonah Littman on Mono Blue Belcher. Alan Miller's Is It Prowess, the winner from yesterday, was defeated by Garrett Whitman's Domain Zoo. And then Matt Sims was defeated by his friend Chris Hafner on Boros Energy. In the semifinals, TJ's Kethis took down Riley Baker. Y'all covered that match off camera. Woodman was defeated by Hafner, Boros Energy taking down Domain Zoo. And now 2 players left in the field. Hafner, the 8 seed on Boros Energy, versus TJ Radizak on Kethis combo.
Yeah, really the most played archetype in the room and tied for the least played archetype in the room at 1.
Yep.
Facing off in the finals here. Have to imagine that, Chris Hafner being so experienced, we always see him at these events, has some understanding of how this Kethis deck works. It's been a huge advantage that TJ's had throughout this tournament. His players have been unsure exactly what cards they need to answer, exactly which things in the graveyard, which things in play they need to counter. If Chris Hafner can have that understanding, they'll have a better chance of taking down this match. That said, his deck, this Boros Energy deck, is not well suited to interacting with the Kethis combo.
Blah, blah, blah. Everyone says, oh, I have a good matchup against Boros Energy. I have a good matchup against the best deck in the field. Of course I'm going to beat them. And then they just go 1-drop into 1-drop removal spell, and the game's over.
Yes, the cheap removal to deal with the early things like Rona and Emery will be effective, Galvanic Discharge, and then Static Prison. And then if he can find one of those main deck Thraben Charms as a piece of graveyard hate, or a way to kill a Kethis, that could be very helpful for Chris Hafner as well. But really, it's going to be about pressure. Can you have that early Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls kind of draw so that he makes TJ assemble the combo rather quickly? If you put together a draw that kills on turn 4, turn 5, TJ might not be able to assemble the right pieces. He needs a lot of things to go together. Multiple Moxen of each type. He needs the Kethis. He needs a full graveyard. And yes, he can fill his graveyard rather quickly, but if he spends too many turns casting Emerys and Malevolent Rumbles to fill his own graveyard, then he's going to fall victim to a very fast, aggressive draw from Boros Energy.
All right. Enough about Boros Energy. No one cares about Boros Energy. It's been around for a while now. This combo deck is secretly also a deck that's been around for a while, which is 8 Moxen, 4 Emery, 4 Tamio, and then some way to go infinite.
This is the spiritual successor to Temur Breach.
Yeah, and you and Corey had a lot of experience with that. I imagine that if TJ wins this event, there's a good chance that Kethis becomes the new Underworld Breach. They've been looking for some way to fuse that really powerful core shell with the Mox Ambers with some sort of in-game combo. And we've seen Jeskai Ascendancy come and go, flash in the pan. Now this Kethis is going to be the same way.
I think one of the other things that TJ's probably capitalized on is that there isn't nearly as much graveyard hate around as there used to be. And without having that to deal with...
The graveyard hate is also like one-shot stuff instead of like rest in peace.
Yeah, and you're able to get through, one of Soul Guide Lantern. But when Breach was at its height, there was a ton of graveyard hate around to try to stop it. Not so much around now. So he's certainly benefited from that. And looking at Chris Hafner's sideboard, there's one Ghost Vacuum.
Yeah, not going to do it, really.
So going to have to rely on some other pieces of hate to interact in the post-sideboard games. Is Hafner. Game 1 is really going to be mostly a race, and if Hafner can find appropriate removal and Thraben Charm as a piece of graveyard hate as well.
All right, winner of this match gets the trophy, $1,500. Both players qualified for the Regional Championship and the Apex Invitational. They're ready in the feature match area, so let's go ahead and crown a winner.
Let's do it. TJ, the 6th seed, surely is on the draw in this finals match.
Surely. Don't call me Shirley.
Chris Hafner, the 8th seed in this bracket, so TJ will take the play in game 1.
All right, going to go ahead and play Scalding Tarn, Fetch. Let's see what he wants to deploy on turn number 1. With all of those zeros, Mishra's Bauble, Mox Opal, Mox Amber. Oh, that was the one I forgot. Mishra's Bauble also. That means there's like 20 of those core artifact blue cards together that are just showing up everywhere. Anyway. see what he's got here. It's 3 things: 2 baubles and Emery, Lurker of the Lock. We're gonna flip 4 cards over, and Hafner already staring down the barrel. Gonna pop a bauble. Hafner gonna fetch quickly. Let's see if he has the answer for that Emery, or if he's just gonna play a threat.
Will likely want to deal with the Emery first, as important as it is to get his own threats down.
Yeah, but you know how hard it is to just have a removal on turn 1. Like, if, you don't have removal on turn 1, you lose the game. That's kind of what is happening right now.
Yeah, welcome to Modern. And here is the removal spell, Static Prison, from Chris Hafner.
And that's going to take care of it, but only for a short period of time. He's going to need to generate some more energy along the way.
Yeah, needs to find a Guide of Souls or send a Galvanic Discharge at a small creature.
Yeah. So TJ timed it so that he bobbled on Hafner's upkeep before draw, so now he's going to draw his bauble card. Now, play Saga as his land for the turn. We're going to play Mox Opal. And then Vexing Bauble, so no free spells, but I don't think Hafner has any of those.
Yeah, DJ has way more free spells in his deck, but he can sack the Vexing Bauble before he tries to combo.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see that almost 100% during the end step.
So it's Kethis, Teferi, Rona, and something else milled with the Emery. Be another Tamio.
All right, so he's letting the prison die because there was a redundant copy of the legend in play. So it gets to keep 2 energy, does Chris Hafner, and we're going to fetch with Arid Mesa to get land number 2, and we'll see what he wants to play here.
The good news for TJ is that Hafner playing the Static Prison on turn 1 suggests he doesn't have another removal spell. So I don't think TJ is going to lose both Emerys this turn. Hafner just setting himself up to draw a removal spell and then be out of the woods.
Guide of Souls is the play, and Ocelot Pride. We're going to gain an energy, and we are going to make a cat token on the end step thanks to the Ocelot Pride's extra ability, gaining another energy too. Vexing Bauble going to be cracked by TJ to draw a card, and let's see if we can combo kill. I don't know.
Hard to cast Kethis at this point. TJ even leaving the Mishra's Bauble around so he can regain Metalcraft this turn for the Mox Opal. I don't think he's under that much pressure. TJ has another couple turns before he really needs to combo. Still at 17 life. Hafner has now built a sizable board with those 2 1-drops, and his board will only get bigger next turn. And TJ still has another setup turn or 2 that he can use to make sure his combo pieces are all there.
All right, here's Malevolent Rumble, going to reveal 2 Mox Ambers, Ether Spellbomb, and Plaza of Heroes. I don't think TJ has a land in hand, so he may want the Plaza of Heroes here to give him some colored mana for Kethis.
Also may want the Mox Amber to get back up to Metalcraft, but he can cast those with the Emery.
Right. Maybe has plans to do some serious stuff this turn.
Does take a Mox Amber.
Now we're going to target Spellbomb.
Okay, so he wanted to take the Amber so he could have mana, and then now Spellbomb with the Emery for some interaction to slow down Hafner. So that suggests TJ has not found the pieces he needs to combo yet.
Well, he has Kethis in hand. He just needed the mana, which he didn't have this turn. And next turn, the Saga's going to pop, and he has Kethis in hand. I think he just doesn't need much else after that because he's got Emerys already.
Yeah, you can find another Mox Opal after floating with the first one. 2 Mox Opals plus the Breeding Pool will give him what he needs to cast the Kethis. And then he'll have a redundant Mox Opal and a redundant Mox Amber. So now he's Kethis activations and net 2 mana. But Goblin Bombardment and a second Ocelot Pride for Chris Hafner means his board is going to get very big.
So TJ going to use Spellbomb here to bounce something. He's thinking about what to activate on.
So he bounces an Ocelot Pride. That'll take Hafner down to 7 permanents. So no threat of the City's Blessing. Hafner will get 1 token from the remaining Pride. And we'll have 4 creatures available to sacrifice to the Bombardment. So could potentially kill a Kethis, but it would cost him his entire board.
All right, attacking, going to pay some energy. Guide of Souls going to jump. 4 damage coming across. And now during the end step, we are going to gain some life, so we'll get another token from Ocelot Pride. And now, does Hafner want to just start mowing down some of these creatures from TJ? We can sack these 2 cat tokens to kill Emery right now. That seems pretty desirable.
It's either kill Emery or hold off to kill a Kethis. And the fact that Kethis will cost you your whole board means you probably just want to kill the Emery. And that's what Hafner does.
Okay, let's go back to TJ. Let's see if he can find the kill this turn. I'd like to see it. I haven't seen too many kills from the Kethis combo per se, and I'm curious how easy it is to do from just kind of like a naked Kethis in a big graveyard. I think it's just very easy.
Yeah, floats colorless with the Urza Saga, floats some sort of colored mana with the Mox Opal. It's likely finding another Mox Opal here. Although, yeah, that's still fine. The Mox Amber's not turned on right now, but he has mana outside of the Amber to cast the Kethis, and that'll turn on the Opal, the Amber.
So green from Breeding Pool, and then black and white from the 2 Mox Opals. Now, with a stocked graveyard, we can activate and then start playing stuff, including Moxen. He's going to show the Jace, and I think with his current graveyard and the Jace, this is a guaranteed kill, which is why he's showing it. TJ has been playing this deck a lot, is my guess, on Magic Online.
Yeah, he has 5 more Moxen in the graveyard, so yeah, all his Kethis activations add 1,000,000 mana and can cast this Jace, and then he can mill out the rest of his deck, give himself enough legends to start looping and milling Hafner's deck. This is a very straightforward combo.
Yeah, so he's pulling all the Moxen out, and this is kind of how he's announcing the kill. He's going to say, okay, Kethis, now all my legends in the graveyard can be cast. All these Moxen can be cast. Each one's +1 mana. And then each cycle is 15 milled cards, and that's a very easy thing to do to kill Hafner, or, knock off Hafner's deck out. So game 1, Kethis combo takes it down. TJ 1 game away from victory and putting a new deck on the map in Modern.
Yeah, Hafner in that game had turn 1, kill your Emery. Turn 2, play Guide of Souls Ocelot Pride for pressure. Turn 3, second Ocelot Pride Goblin Bombardment, and did not get a turn 4.
Yeah, just got rinsed.
It demonstrates the structural issues that he has in this matchup. He really needs TJ to stumble. TJ had an excellent draw with the turn 1 Emery, and then that was a turn 4 kill.
All right, well, as Hafner reaches to the sideboard for some help, I'm going to reach over to Ross for some help. How do you think that Hafner is going to be siding against this Kethis combo deck? You have a lot of experience playing with Emery, Tomio, and things like that, and against Boros, and I'm assuming there's some cards that you're kind of afraid of.
There's a lot of reasonable cards in Hafner's sideboard. That's the good news. His sideboard is 2 Blood Moon, 2 Celestial Purge, 1 Clarion Conqueror, 2 Deafening Silence, 1 Ghost Vacuum, 3 Molten Rain, 2 Worms Chant, 1 Showdown of the Scalds, and 1 Wear Tear. I think Blood Moons and Clarion Conqueror go a long way towards constricting TJ's mana, which is very helpful. Deafening Silence will stop the combo. There's a lot of creatures in this deck, but the combo involves casting a bunch of Moxen over and over and over again. So Deafening Silence will shut that down. Orm's Chant you can bring in to buy you some time. And then Ghost Vacuum is another piece of Graveyard Hate as an option. The Vacuum is kind of slow, but the Kethis deck, yes, you need a high volume of cards in the graveyard to combo off, but you also need very specific cards. It's about having redundant copies of those Moxen. Yes. That's what you're looking to cast over and over again. So if the Vacuum can just reduce the number of Moxen in the graveyard turn after turn, that will help Chris Hafner quite a bit. It is a nombo with the 1 Clarion Conqueror, but I think he just has to bring in as much disruption as he can get and cut some of the Flages, the Voice of Victory, the Fables, some of these slower, grindier cards that are better in fair matchups. You need to cut for disruptive cards and then rely on your cheap creatures to supply the pressure.
All right, on the other side of the table, his opponent, TJ Radizak, with that new Kethis combo deck. Give me an idea of what he's going to be bringing in to fight Boros, the common menace.
TJ's sideboard is 2 Ashiok Dream Renderer, 1 Boseiju Who Endures to supplement 2 in the main, 3 Consign to Memory, 2 Dismember, 2 Orm's Chant, 1 Pithing Needle, 2 Portable Hole, a second copy of Teferi Time Raveler, and 1 Urza's Ruinous Blast. I suspect he will just be bringing in the creature removal. 2 Dismember, 2 Portable Hole, and the Sweeper in Urza's Ruinous Blast, and try to be a little bit more controlling, especially on the draw, keep those early creatures at bay, potentially have a portable hole that can answer Deafening Silence, and you can access portable hole from the graveyard with Emery, so that aspect of it is excellent. But mainly just rely on the strength of his combo, get a little bit of interaction for some hate cards and early creatures, but not so much that you really water down the power of your deck, because he's naturally advantaged anyway.
All right, players here are ready for game number 2. Hafner going to be on the play with Boros Energy, assuming that we're keeping these hands. No, TJ Radizak going to be taking a mulligan, so we're going to take just another pause here while he shuffles up for that. I'd like to take this time to say thank you for the sponsors for this weekend's festivities here at Apex Con. We're sponsored by SpiceRack.gg. SpiceRack is a piece of tournament software that is wonderful to work with. If you are a tournament organizer or a player, check out SpiceRack.gg to either run tournaments or find a tournament near you. TJ, gonna draw his second hand here.
I see Island Urza Saga Kethis, which is just a perfect hand.
That's a Jim D hand of the week if I ever seen one.
Oh, yeah. It's a TJ hand of the week.
Yeah. Big shout out again to Jim Davis for the raid early. We appreciate you, homie. Chris Hafner going to be on the play here. Flooded Strands, quick fetch, 1-drop incoming. Let's see what it is. Sacred Foundry down to 17.
Against most combo decks, I would say Ragavan is the ideal, but TJ with these Tamios can check Ragavan more often.
I mean, even he has turn 1 Emery sometimes too. Oh wow, Ghost Vacuum. I honestly, I don't want to. It's not good. I don't know. I don't want this card against Kethis. Even though they're graveyard centric.
Oh,
who care?
It's not looking too bad here. There's a portable hole milled with this Emery and a Tamio. Jesus, with the Mox Amber. So an explosive draw from TJ. But the Ghost Vacuum can start clearing away these artifacts and limit the effectiveness of the Emery. What's that bottom card in TJ's graveyard? Another Mox?
There's a Mox, a Tamio, and a Scalding Tarn, and that portable hole got eaten.
Yeah.
Here's an Ajani for Hafner. We're going to go ahead and get that Ajani token and pass back. TJ going to go ahead and crack this bubble. Take a look at Hafner's card. Now, Hafner doesn't have to vacuum until the Tamio targets, unless TJ has some answer to the Ghost Vacuum and kind of forces his hand. We'll see how this plays out.
Ghost Vacuum effectively functioning like a removal spell on the Emery that is also limiting TJ's ability to combo. So, not bad here. But TJ, with Urza Saga Tamio, good to go on the classic Breach secondary plan of just aggro you out. That'll be especially powerful if Hafner has a bunch of hate cards from his sideboard.
TJ get a main phase, draw a card. I like this play. You don't see that too often, but thanks to that Mishra's Bauble, this is now transforming Tamio on turn number 2 and allowing him to start pushing towards the ultimate. We watched him win with Kethis combo. We watched him win with Urza Saga. Now will we watch him win with a Tamio ultimate? Truly, this is the mark of the Tamio 8 Mox Mishra's Bauble deck.
Tamio is quite the card. Tamio control. That's the plan now. TJ has another Tamio Seasoned Scholar. Sorry, Inquisitive Student. Seasoned Scholar is the Planeswalker.
Okay, I'm going to go back to Hafner.
Looks like a lot of lands in that hand and a Blood Moon. This Blood Moon will stop the Urza Saga from making constructs. Will not take it off the battlefield, though.
Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore. But I gotta say, this Blood Moon, normally it would be like pretty backbreaking in this situation. And here, with 2 islands at the ready, it's more about the Tamio ticking up than anything. And the Moxen usually help him get out of Blood Moon eventually. So I'm really curious how this is going to play out over the long game.
And TJ...
Is that 3 lands in Hafner's hand? Ew.
Yeah, his hand is very bad.
Okay, well, good luck, TJ.
TJ can just attack with Tamio, draw off the clues, use the Emery to check the cat token, although I guess if it blocks the cat token with the Emery, then the Ajani will transform, and there is a red permanent because of Blood Moon.
Yeah.
Oh,
I liked not attacking with the Tamio, but I think TJ values that extra card. Wow, nice top deck here for Hafner. This is
a 1 of Clarion Conqueror. TJ's going to have to crack a clue in response.
Now this shuts down both permanents both sides permanents rather. Planeswalkers can be activated, I believe, as creatures and artifacts. So Ghost Vacuum and the Tamio Planeswalker are locked down.
Yeah, small misstep from Hafner. Didn't use his Ghost Vacuum before playing the Conqueror. This shuts off his Ghost Vacuum as well.
I actually like not activating it there. You know, TJ, in order to combo, is going to have to shut you down, right? And in order to shut you down, you have to get the Clarion Conqueror off the battlefield. I think TJ realizes now just how in trouble he is, because he tried to activate that Tamio when Hafner said, no, sir.
Yeah, TJ got a taste of his own medicine where he's the one who doesn't know how his opponent's cards work. Clarion Conqueror, of course, normally used to shut down a bunch of artifacts, but it also does shut down creatures and planeswalkers. So the Emery can't activate, the Rona can't activate, nor can the Tamio.
Hafner taking a pretty interesting stance here. Instead of going after the Tamio over 2 turns, says, I don't think you have any answers to this Clarion, and I'm just going to go for face and deal 3 damage.
And TJ has 1 Otawara from the main deck, 2 Dismember in the sideboard, and that is, and the Urza's Ruinous Blast. But because of the Blood Moon, he can't play the Blast. He can channel Otawara, should he draw that.
Well, what about this Agatha Soul Cauldron? Is that one any good? Because it looks like an artifact that can't be activated to me. Tamio is going to attack to get a clue token. I think this is a reasonable attack. I'm going to go back to Hafner. There's Clarion coming in.
Continues to go face. Another Guide of Souls, so Hafner going to work up his energy count to try to jump one of his small ground creatures to join the Clarion Conqueror in the skies.
TJ draws return, another land that can't tap for colored mana.
And he's on slim outs here. The island is the only basic in his mana base as a 4-color deck, so with his artifacts turned off, he will not have access to non-blue, non-red mana until he can take the Conqueror off the battlefield.
He just packs in. My guess is he didn't bring in Dismembers, and Dismembers were like a serious, or like his only real way to get the Conqueror off the battlefield. So says, you know what? I'm just going to try again for game number 3. Maybe going to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, well, I think that drawing board will include bring in Dismember.
Yeah, probably. All right, as these players are shuffling up here for game number 3, Ross, do you think play draw changes anything for either player? Do you think there's going to be major changes or just the Dismembers coming in?
You know, if you're a TJ, you probably need to interact a little bit more on the draw. You're generally going to be faster than the Boros deck's Goldfish, but not all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, this is a turn 3 to 4 combo deck, but if you brick it all and you have a turn 4 kill, Boros can kill you on turn 4 unimpeded very easily. Mm-hmm. So definitely going to want to be a little bit more interactive, and you know, if he didn't have the Dismembers in that game, he'll have them in this game to answer that Clarion Conqueror.
All right, we are sponsored by some really great companies, including Once Upon a Galaxy, the new auto battler. Ross, you want to do this one? You've been doing this one all day.
Once Upon a Galaxy, assemble a crew as you sail across a diverse and spectacular galaxy of your favorite storybook characters, legends of myth, and other cosmic entities.
Yep.
Check it out in your app store today.
I know Luis Scott Vargas on the team, Matt Nass on the team. Love those guys. Great Magic players. All right, we're almost ready for game number 3. The deciding game, the last game of the weekend, Apex Con, almost over, Ross.
Just one more game left for half the marbles.
Do you count Wings Etc. as a continuation of Apex Con? Is it Apex Con Lobby Con?
That's Apex Con After Dark.
Ah, okay. I was told I wasn't able to watch that when I was a kid, so.
Premium subscribers can gain access to that.
Okay. I don't know if that's true either way.
It is not. That was a lie.
We're just in here telling stories. Hafner here going to fetch with March Flash. Going to get Sacred Foundry, it looks like. No play from Razak in terms of pressure, but does get bobbled down, and we can use that with a little bit of filtering with our own Scalding Tarn.
Yeah. Looks like he has a Rona in hand and maybe an Emery as well. So we might not see the bauble get cracked if TJ wants to use it to reduce the cost of an Emery. Yeah, just sacks the Scalding Tarn, so I think this bauble is sticking around for a turn. This Hafner starts on an Ocelot Pride. Excellent start for him.
Okay, so gets Hallowed Fountain.
So definitely wants white mana, otherwise he would have likely gotten Hedge Maze, which is the one Surveil land in the mana base.
Okay, back to TJ. Doesn't crack Bobble either, which means he probably has Emery, Lurker of the Lock, or something similar to try to need a high artifact count, maybe the Mox Opal.
There's Boseiju. Soul
Agatha's-
Cauldron. There's the Mox Opal. That plays an Emery.
Jeez Louise.
And
Okay.
now TJ is set up. Mills a Kethis with the Emery too, so threatening to potentially combo next turn. Like, he's going to need another way to fill the graveyard probably. Get some more Mox in, but this is a very strong second turn.
Yeah, the Soul Cauldron can eat the Kethis in the graveyard, which can grant the ability to anything with a +1/+1 counter on it. Put a +1/+1 counter on that Emery, and then bingo, bango, bongo, you got a Kethis activation at the ready.
Okay, so now what does Hafner have to potentially interact?
Voice of Law. Voice of Victory.
Would love to see something like Kill Spell on the Emery plus another 1-drop.
Sometimes you just got to keep all creatures. You play Boros Energy, you know that. See
Oh,
what Hafner's got.
fetches a Plains. Looks like Justin and Johnny. Okay.
All right, let's see if TJ can kill on turn 3. I'd like to see it.
Oh, he's stretching. He's getting ready.
Probably considering this bobble. That's my guess. World's most important bobble.
I see a Malevolent Rumble in hand. That can definitely be step 1 to a turn 3 kill.
All right, in a turn, Agatha is going to go ahead and eat Kethis. Put a +1/+1 counter on the Emery. And we're going to crack bobble, take a look at Hafner's top card. You know, this also might mean to TJ that maybe Hafner has like Blood Moon in hand, and it's like it makes sense to him not have interaction if he goes creature, Blood Moon. And so he might think like, oh, I have to go off this turn and just like really try.
I think I see second Boseiju Plaza of Heroes in hand. Oh, is that Grinding Station?
I think Grinding Station might be a GG.
I was going to say, one thing that TJ is missing is a way to mill his deck, and Grinding Station is an awesome way. This Malevolent Rebel doesn't reveal much good. Island, Dismember, Rona, and Kethis, I believe.
Yeah, I would take land or nothing.
Yeah, TJ takes the Island.
Okay. And now with Grinding Station here, he can go Grinding Station, sacrifice the Mox Opal. Yep. So that ability on the stack, we're going to float. And now Grinding Station is going to mill self. And then the Grinding Station will untap. This is a trick that you and Corey used to do all the time.
That we did, and I think TJ is set up to win this final game on turn 3.
I think this is it. Let's just see him. Let's just watch him do it.
When the Kethis player is separating their graveyard like this, that's the same as your Amulet or Storm player getting out the mana placards.
Yeah, you're cooked. You're cooked, bro.
I'm like, okay, I'm ready.
All right, so we're going to exile Cauldron and Arona, and that's going to give all of our legends in the graveyard free casts, or not free casts, but casts for mana. We're going to play 3 Moxen. They're going to go back to the graveyard in a different pile.
Yeah.
And we're going to sack all 3 of them, so we get to mill 3, 6, 9.
TJ just explaining these loops to his opponents so we can shortcut them. Gonna separate out the legends. Those go into the uncastable legend pile for now. And this graveyard is big enough. I cannot see TJ bricking, but Hafner gonna make him play it out.
The Grinding Station is like X Factor here. You don't want to draw too many, but in this situation, it's perfect.
Yeah. Nice little 1-0 to dig towards to increase the redundancy in your deck. If you mill it with something, you can recast it with Emery. If you don't have an Emery, you can exile one with a Soul Cauldron and then cast Grinding Station. So there's a lot of backdoor ways to get it onto the battlefield. You really only need the 1 copy.
Well, does Hafner have access to Surgical Extraction? Maybe there's that possibility.
Nope. And this is open deckless in the top 8, so TJ knows there's no surgical.
Okay.
No free spells of any kind in Hafner's list.
Looks like we about to have a champion. It's a TJ Radazak. Bringing it back.
You know, for all the time that Underworld Breach was legal, I kept hoping to have Grinding Station win one of these tournaments, and it's going to win the first one after the ban?
Well,
I don't know whether to be happy about that or complain about the cruel irony.
All right. Well, TJ Radizak, in an impressive 3-game set, defeats Chris Hafner and becomes your champion of the Modern Invitational Qualifier 5K here at Apex Gaming. Congrats to him. I'm going to go get him for the interview, just like always.
Yep.
I'll be right back.
Our head judge making sure to hand out the Ultimate Guard swag that goes to our finalists. Hafner taking second place, going to get himself a Return to Earth Boulder deck box, as well as a flipping tray. And then our champion, TJ Radizak, going home with a Squareos deck box, along with a Super Hive. So congrats to them, and thanks to Ultimate Guard for the swag that we can give our top 8 players. Okay, TJ coming in here. They didn't give me a playmat to give you, but I'm sure you'll get one. Yeah, grab it. I will, however, give you a hearty congratulations.
Thanks.
And I will thank you so much for winning one of these tournaments with Grinding Station in your deck. Nobody did it while Breach was legal.
Yeah.
Now, TJ, we've seen you a lot on this Apex series. You've done a lot of winning with a lot of different decks. This time, you show up with a deck that no one else is playing. You're the only one in the room with it.
Yeah.
Tell me about this Kethis deck. Why is this the deck that you chose to play? Is this a deck that you've been, playing for a while?
Hardesty messaged me on Wednesday and said, "Hey, what's it gonna cost for you to play Kethis on Sunday?" And I said, "If you pay my entry and provide the deck." And then I showed up and he handed it to me. He's been excited all day.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So how many games have you played with this deck before the tournament?
Today.
Just
Whatever
today?
I played today. I played 2 before the event started with Jimmy, who was playing Gorios, and we played a couple of games, so I knew how to do the thing, and then we went.
You got some warm-ups in?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Okay, so now, how are you feeling about the deck going forward?
You can't cast Kethis. It's actually really embarrassing.
Yeah, we saw you in I think it was game 2, where you opened with Island, Urza Saga, Kethis. Those are the first 3 cards we saw in your hand.
We took a counter of how many lands I hadn't played that couldn't cast Kethis, and it was like 4 by the end of the game.
That comes with a very special mana base.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm honestly, I'm a little taken aback, but that's just very impressive. This is a very complicated deck.
Yeah.
I have to assume that your opponents also struggled with figuring out how best to attack you.
Yeah, we had a lot of Kozilek's Command, the wrong card.
Yeah, I watched that definitely in that was it the top 4 match against Gruul, hitting the Ronas and not hitting the Moxen.
Yeah, just not really knowing what card matters. And Cauldron seemed to be great the entire time I played it, of just being the Kethis, and Kethis could just go head first into something and just eat whatever.
Yeah, it's Kethis, but you can cast it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a castable Kethis. I can mill it to Rona.
Yeah,
there probably should be more Ronas in the deck. I don't know why there's only 3.
No one knows. We'll have to figure that out with Hardesty, but okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep you any longer. Congratulations. What an impressive run. Picking up the deck blind and just running through this field just goes to show why TJ is one of the most successful and long-standing players on this series. Looking forward to seeing him play this November at the Invitational. Let's get Todd back in the booth, and we will wrap up this weekend.
Who does this kid think he is? Come in, no
What's
game.
it going to take to play Kethis in this tournament?
Gets free entry.
Play my entry.
Scoops up
me the deck.
1,500. Qualifies for everything.
He doesn't need to practice. He doesn't need to know what he's playing. He just gets to show up and win the tournament.
Yeah, so really great stuff there. I mean, TJ, obviously one of the better players that we have here on the Apex series. You saw it there. I mean, he took it down with a deck that he had no experience with prior to today. Congratulations to him on that. Well, Ross, it's that time again, a time where we have to say goodbye. But first, I want to say thank you to a lot of great people to help put on Apex Con and make this weekend special for everyone who showed up. First off, thank you for being in the booth with me all the time. It's great to have you as a
Not
guest
all the time,
partner.
only half the time.
Well, yeah, most of the time until this weekend. We had Corey Baumeister, in the booth with us. Thank you to him. Taryn Huck, our director and co-owner of Apex Gaming. You see his hand right there. Thank you so much to him. Kyle Huck, who just walked in the door holding a crock pot for some reason. No idea why. Thank you to y'all for that.
I don't accept Crockpots as payment. I want to make that clear.
I do accept cheese sauce as payment, though. So if it's full of cheese sauce, that's a viable currency.
Make that note.
All right, staff. We have a great staff here at Apex Gaming. A lot of wonderful people from the local municipality and everything, helping make sure that everyone here is happy. Thank you to all the players who came out. We had 73 players today in the main event, and a host of other players playing side events. So it's a great time. Thank you so much to everyone at home watching, people in Twitch chat on our channel, Apex Gaming, but also in the Ultimate Guard channel. Thank you to our sponsors, Ultimate Guard, Once Upon a Galaxy, Moxfield, and SpiceRack.gg. Yeah, that's all I got. You got anybody else you want to say thank you to?
My dad. Thank you to him. It's Father's Day.
Yeah, thanks to my dad too. Happy Father's Day.
Nailed it.
Yeah, great job. All right, well, it's always a sad time when Ross and I have to say goodbye, because it's going to be at least a month before we see y'all again. But we really love coming here. Every time we get to the Huck Brothers and everyone at Apex, at the Apex family, make us feel like family. It makes us feel like we're coming home. So thank you to them, and God bless Caldwell, Ohio, and say bye, Ross.
Bye, Ross.